Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, I'm only recording one side. It's not about me, but it's okay. It's okay. We're not even going to say what we're talking about. Nope. We're not even going to say it.
Nobody will know.
Nobody will know. But you know what people will know?
What?
My thoughts on Shawn Mendes' Wonder.
Wow.
Whoa.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of this podcast where...
A new type of deal. A new type of John that we're doing.
A new type of Jonathan where we actually aren't talking about Fall Out Boy. They might come up, but...
They might come up, yeah.
But this is...
I doubt it. None of my thoughts related to Shawn Mendes' Wonder. Shawn Mendes' Wonder.
If you have an S as the last letter of your last name, what's wrong with you?
What's up?
What's up?
You still do apostrophe S to show possession, though, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Or is that a British thing?
I don't know. But regardless, this is a new segment of the show called Made You Listen. Carson and I made 2 wheels, independent of each other, of albums that the other has not heard. So I made a wheel of 10 albums that Carson hasn't heard, and Carson made a wheel of 10 albums I haven't heard.
You haven't heard, yes.
And we spin the wheel every, I guess, week or something.
Yeah, something like that. So just to clarify, this is not something... We're just giving you a little taste.
Oh,
because I will be in the city of Europe.
Yeah, England is my city.
England is my city. That's correct. I'll be in the city of England next week, and then for another couple of weeks. So instead of us like giving rapid fire thoughts on Fall Out Boy and having to backlog, Dawson and I thought it a good idea to give you a different taste, a different type of show. On This Ain't a Scene, It's a Podcast. And this is what the Patreon show will be. Once we run out of 10 albums on each wheel, if this is successful, we will load it up with another 10 albums. We're not going to bail on this because I do want to see this through. Because all the albums I put on my wheel, I do want you to hear. I do want your thoughts on them. Because as we established last week, great reason why we started this podcast is because you and I love thinking critically about music. We love talking to each other about music, preferably in person.
Yeah,
because I mean, like, I could write paragraphs to you about music, but would you read them?
I would read them, but they wouldn't be very...
And I would read yours, but
it wouldn't be very transferable to a podcast.
And it wouldn't be able to be monetized.
It's like, all right, everyone, I got a paragraph from Carson about this album, and I'm going to read it to you because he is in Europe right now.
Bro, one of the albums I almost put in place of... Because what album on my wheel did I have that you had heard before?
Is a Real Boy.
So I almost put a zombie apocalypse concept album on there.
Goodness.
It might actually be on there. But anyway. Just on the note of monetizing like text messages. Homeboy that made said zombie apocalypse concept album, which if it becomes relevant, we'll bring it up. We'll bring up who did it. Legitimately trying to tell stories through like iMessage screenshots right now that he is sending to himself.
That's awesome.
It is so strange. Anyway.
That rocks.
Yeah, we thought it might be a good idea. These will not normally appear on the feed. The first 2, me listening to Wonder by Shawn Mendes and you listening to Low Country by Envy on the Coast, will be on the main feed. But the rest you're going to have to go to the Patreon. Insert link here.
Yeah, whenever we're going to put that up soon. If it's not already up before
I leave, I hope.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not.
Who knows?
Anyway, we will eventually have a Patreon.
Yeah, and then the other fucking 18 of those episodes or whatever will go.
Yeah,
on
we'll go on there. Yeah, so if you like this, then go enjoy our Patreon exclusive show, Made You Listen, which you'll be able to RSS feed that into all your podcast platforms. We're also going to put the main episodes onto the Patreon as well so that you can just all have them in one RSS feed in Overcast or whatever you use for podcasts. Yeah. Anyway.
And if you don't like this show, then you're in luck because you only have to sit through 2 of them.
Yeah, you only have to sit through 2 of them. We're only putting 2 out. And maybe this one sucks, but the next one's really good or something. I don't fucking know.
I don't fucking know. Regardless, Carson and I are both about to go on tour, and this was the most economic option for that.
this was the smartest
Separate
option.
Tours.
Yeah, separate tours, yeah. Can you imagine, like, it'll probably happen one day. Like, our bands sound very different, but, like, I feel like eventually one day we will do, like, some kind of extended tour together.
That would be fun. Just, like...
and we rope in the podcast with it.
Yeah, Mathcore Emo Tour. And then
Mathcore Emo podcast
We won't
tour.
Have to miss a week of the episode of the podcast.
That's true. We can just record in green rooms. Or live on stage. I'm sure everyone would like it.
Everyone would have a great time with that. No one would go outside for a smoke. It would be great.
No one would talk over the podcast at all.
No
one would whisper. This is similar to the It's Always Sunny podcast.
Hey, do you remember Blink 155?
Yeah, exactly. So I did it, Austin.
Yeah,
I did it.
You did it.
First of all, can I ask you? And this is no indication of my thoughts on this record. Why is this a record you wanted me to hear?
Well, first of all,
it sounds bad, but it's not. I promise.
So, just off the top, this album that we're talking about this episode once again is Wonder by Shawn Mendes. Not any of the deluxe versions, because I think there are like fucking 3 deluxe versions out there.
There's a holiday deluxe.
There's a holiday deluxe.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
And a normal deluxe, and I think like a super deluxe or something. I don't fucking know. This album, I guess, underperformed. So they were like, yeah, I think it did.
Yeah, I noticed
there weren't
that.
any hits off of this one.
Yeah.
I think the closest it got was Monster with Justin Bieber.
Yeah,
but
this, you know what? I'm not gonna say what's the name of that song just yet. But yeah.
So I wanted you to hear this album because we've talked about Shawn Mendes on the podcast before, and this is, I believe,
how I used to shower to Senorita to log time in the shower. Yeah,
I think this is his best album, and it's the most interesting Shawn Mendes album, not necessarily lyrically, but sonically, because it is a pretty one-subject album. He is 90% of the time talking about Camila Cabello, which is very funny now.
Now, is this
broken up?
They were together?
They were together.
Interesting. Okay.
They were together for a few years, I think.
That's what I was going to ask you, is because, like, when it starts, it reads like a breakup album. And I was like, oh shit, I'm in. And I've listened to it 3 times, and that's like always how it starts off for me, is like the intro track. I'm always like, all right, like this is kind of like melancholy. Like I feel like this is like kind of a cold weather intro, and then it goes into the Tom Lovejoy would call it track 2, song 1.
Yeah.
And I feel that a little bit less. I don't know. I don't know. Continue with what you were saying.
Okay. Yeah. This album is on my chart of all my favorite albums, which I recently reconfigured.
How many are on there?
60. There are 60 albums and EPs on there that I have as my all-time favorites.
Are they ranked in any sort of way?
Yeah, they're in order from 1 to 60. So this album is number 50. This is number 50 on out of 60.
Interesting.
And when this came out, it was like height of the pandemic. This shit hit October 2020, and I was just about to start working at Amazon. So
damn,
basically all I did was like, cause when this album came out, I just looped it over and over and over again.
Interesting. Because have you thought about how it sounds like it was made in an Amazon warehouse?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It's
that
hard.
is a dig, by the way.
I understand.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, man, I understand.
Yeah, man.
Sounds like it was made in an Amazon warehouse. Like, what about it, dude? My relationship with Shawn Mendes' music is one day members of Brockhampton started tweeting, man, this new Shawn Mendes is really good. And I was like, Brockhampton tweeting about Shawn Mendes, that's strange.
Interesting.
And his songs In My Blood and Lost in Japan had just came out.
Two very good songs.
Two very good songs. And I listened to them and I was like, holy shit, does Shawn Mendes have bangers in him?
Mm-hmm.
And then when the full album that those songs came out, I was a little disappointed. But then this album, I was there for the whole rollout and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like super pumped about it. And then really disappointed that everyone like hated it.
Sure.
And it didn't like really go anywhere.
Well, I noticed that it is his lowest performing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I mean,
I do.
There was there was only 2 singles leading up to it.
Okay, and it was Monster, and what was the other one?
Wonder.
Oh man, there's like 4 or 5 others.
I know, right? Fucking like they could have put out fucking Teach Me How to Love, probably.
That would have been my pick. It would be between Teach Me How to Love and 24 Hours.
Yeah.
Even though 24 Hours is kind of like a slow jam, like I still feel like it may have performed pretty well.
24 Hours is my least favorite track, I'm gonna be honest.
Wow, really? I think it's my favorite.
That's so crazy.
I think my favorites are between 24 Hours and Monster.
Monster is a fucking
Monster's dope.
Monster is crazy. I think my favorites are, apart from the entire album, I really like Piece of You and Dream. I think those 2.
So, all right.
But what do you think, Carson?
No. I mean, it's about what both of us think, but you're more familiar with it, and you have asked me. You have spun for me to listen to this.
Yes.
So, I'll talk about it. By the way, I on my wheel, I did replace Is a Real Boy with the Zombie Apocalypse concept album.
Nice.
So you'll eventually have to hear it. Originally I told you that I put Zed's Clarity in there, and then I realized I don't want to do that to you because I also don't want to talk about that record. So,
I don't get me wrong, dear listener. I put bad albums on my wheel for Carson
for sure.
and
No, I put bad albums on mine too. Yeah,
there are bad albums on both of ours. Well, there could be a bad album on this episode, considering what Carson might feel about this record.
Well, okay, so. Let me give you like the big positives I have for this.
Mm-hmm.
This record is produced in a way that none of his other music is, which I would say is like not glossy, just very full.
Mm-hmm.
Full is the word I'd use. And like, oh, there's deer that just ran past the window.
Holy crap.
We live in an enchanted world, dog.
We live in a funny forest.
Like, this album is subtle when it needs to be subtle. I don't think it quite goes as hard as it thinks it does. But when it's loud, it's like it sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the big moments feel big. It doesn't feel like, oh, this could have been like seen through a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, like, I don't and this is going to come off as like maybe a little shitty. I think this record thinks it's like this is the artsy one.
Oh, 100%.
And it's not. It's not. And like right down to the cover. Like the cover is like vaguely reminiscent of like a Sigur Rós album.
Mm-hmm.
The one with fucking gobbledygook on it. I can't pronounce it because
mm-hmm.
it's Icelandic, and I don't speak that language.
Me neither.
But the album that has gobbledygook on it, that album, it like kind of looks like that. Like There's like scratchy writing that says like, it says "I am in wonder." Or what is it? What does it say?
I think it just says "in wonder."
In wonder, yeah. It thinks it's, which if it was called "In Wonder," I think that's like a way better title. But like, it's amazing the difference that word makes. Yeah. So positives. I think it sounds really, really good. I love the way that Shawn's vocals are produced on it. I think like, again, like where in moments where I think like a big selling pop artist like Shawn Mendes would put like this is a moment where you stack 25 fucking harmonies. That just doesn't happen. Like it's like more stripped back. It's still definitely like in the box music where it's like very clear that like, oh, I'm like, all right, this is a song made in Ableton Live.
Yeah.
But I noticed that he did a like live album playthrough for this.
Sort of.
I watched 2 songs from it.
He did live versions of 6 tracks from this album.
Okay, only 6.
Those being Intro, Wonder, Dream, Song for No One, Always Been You, and Look Up at the Stars. All of which...
Don't know why he didn't do Can't Imagine, but that's fine.
Because these were all with like a full band behind him and all that, with like a bunch of people and shit. It would be a little strange, I guess.
Maybe. I don't know.
But if there's one thing that I like more about those live versions than the studio versions, it's the drumming.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the positives I can give it, and I only watched 2 songs, but like when I'm listening to it, like even though I know it's like a digitally created song, I can still like see a band playing it in my head, kind of. In that way that like right before Maroon 5 gets like really bad, you like it's like that thing where it's like, I know this is fake, but also like
a band could
play this and it would probably be really good.
Yeah.
Which I know doesn't sound, I know that sounds like a slight more than a compliment, but yeah, I mean the big negative for me is these songs are so samey. Like after Monster, 305 until Can't Imagine, that might as well be one song.
Really?
Look Up at the Stars, definitely still a highlight. I think it's the best out of those groupings, but like, whoa. Like I really don't like have a moment that stands out after Monster other than Can't Imagine. I think Can't Imagine is a great song.
Yeah, I agree.
But I did not like that stretch of music, and I feel very bad that I didn't.
No, it's fine.
Shawn Mendes, theater kid?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think he was a theater kid. He was a Viner.
Okay, that I didn't know.
Pretty prominent.
Did he do covers on Vine? What did he do on Vine?
He would do little
like
covers.
An old fucking man.
Oh, yeah. He was. Do you know MagCon?
No, what's that? Explain that to me.
So MagCon was a convention where a bunch of pretty white boys from Vine got together and like did a little tour where they like. The only one that actually did anything was Shawn, because he would like actually play songs because he could play guitar and sing. I don't know what all of the other ones did, but it was like Shawn Mendes and wow, I forgot literally all of their other names, probably because they're not relevant anymore.
Were they like just the hot white boys, the popular now boys?
Kinda, yeah. It's not like the Logan Pauls were like. Not the ones who were doing like comedy videos, but the ones who were doing like thirst traps and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
They would go on tour, and then Shawn was posting little musical covers, and then he would write his own stuff, and eventually his exposure on Vine led to a record deal.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, then to me, it's amazing he's even lasted this long.
Oh yeah.
That's very surprising that that's where he comes from. This is what, his 4th album?
Fourth album. Yeah.
Okay.
All of his songs in like his top 5 on Spotify are all well over 1 billion plays.
Well over 1 billion, and most of it is self-titled or handwritten.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what
which is still crazy. Like,
yeah, no, I mean that's nuts, and they're all great songs. For me, he kind of suffers from the like Charlie Puth thing, where like he's like famous but not famous. Where like I had totally heard "Attention" by Charlie Puth like before I knew that it was "Attention" by Charlie Puth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where
yeah.
it's like. And you can definitely play me like 5 other Charlie Puth songs where I know the whole hook, but I'm going to be like, yeah, I had no idea that was Charlie Puth, and I did not know the name of that song.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Shawn Mendes has kind of always suffered from that, just in like the general public, because like I hesitate to call myself a fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like what he does. I do think he's a very talented singer. I don't think he's like, just like white boy of the week or whatever. I mean, he's white boy of the week this week on the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very, very interesting to listen back to this. And I don't know, the opinion I mostly formulated was like really, really strong first half.
Mm-hmm.
It loses its concept very quickly. I would say after 24 hours, the sonic world that the album is living in just kind of goes off the rails. And I don't know where it's supposed to live after that. You know what I mean?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
It's it kind of starts off feeling like super grand and all that, and then from intro to 24 hours you kind of feel like it's going to be this lush dreamscape or whatever, and then Teach Me How to Love hits, which is a good song, but it's like completely different. Also, fun fact, Anderson .Paak is drumming on Teach Me How to Love. And every time I think about that, I forget that that's a thing until like halfway through the song.
That's interesting, because that's like pre-Anderson .Paak being like uber famous, right?
Yeah, this is pre-Silk Sonic.
Pre-Silk Sonic, yeah.
He had still done like Malibu and stuff like that.
I knew who he was and shit, but like, I guess I didn't. I mean, he was like opening for Thundercat the year before, and now he's like fucking. Now he's Anderson .Paak, you know.
It's just funny that Shawn was like, "Hey, can you drum on this track?
Play drums?"
And then Anderson was like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, I mean, like that's a really good song. Call My Friends is when it gets lost entirely, where I'm like, I get it. Like I get like the I get like where this track is coming from. I understand it. It's like I'm in my mid to late 20s and I've lost touch with all my friends, and like I get it. Like, I've heard lots of good songs about that.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be on this record. It's also like Lost in Japan is this like sexy like little bop that just is so funky and fun, and like it's a great little bop. I love Lost in Japan, and its subject material is like, hey, guess what we could do.
Yeah.
And Call My Friends is like all right. Like,
all right, let's go get high.
I want to go get high with everybody who went to my high school. It's like, all right, well,
yeah. There's one thing that I won't super defend about this album, and it's Shawn Mendes' like lyrical ability.
I mean,
he is not a terrible lyricist,
no.
but he has never been a particularly strong one.
No, but he's always been in this territory to me of like Charlie Puth. I think his lyrics are bad. Like, I'll say that right now. I think Attention is his best song lyrically, and I don't really think Attention's that great lyrically. It's a bop though. I mean, shit slaps.
With that bass line, you could be singing about most anything.
Oh yeah, and the fact that it like builds up and you think it's gonna be this like huge like glossy chorus and just pulls the fucking ground underneath you.
So good.
I mean, he's genius production wise. I just don't think he should be writing lyrics. But
No.
I mean, whatever. You're not here for my Charlie Puth takes. You're here for my Shawn Mendes takes.
Maybe if I put a Charlie Puth album on there.
Please don't. When we reload the wheel, if we end up doing 20 more of these, like, please don't do that.
I don't think I would want to either.
Yeah, no, I don't want you to. No, fucking, yeah, what was I talking about? Oh, lyrics. He suffers from the, like, I have to be relatable and relevant, and also I want to write a fun song, which, like, Lost in Japan, like, I can't relate to that shit at all. No. I'm never in a financial position to get lost in Japan tonight.
I
would like to be.
I'm never just a couple hundred miles from Japan.
No, I'm never just a couple hundred miles from Japan. So, I love that song. It's like, it's very clear what that song's about, and it's very clear what these songs are about too. I think 305 is where it, like, really suffers, where I'm just like, why are we... it reminded me a lot of that Halsey and what is that fucking guy's name?
Jeezy.
Youngblood.
Oh.
It reminded me a lot of that Halsey Youngblood song, where I think it's called 11 Minutes.
I have no idea.
And, like, just, like, bringing up any sort of gauge of time, like, it's this time. I'm this amount of time away. Mm-hmm. I'm like, for whatever reason, it's just like, it feels like a cop out to me.
Yeah.
It feels like I can't figure out a more interesting thing to sing about, so I'm going to sing about what time it is. Like, fuck you. Yeah, I don't know. Not huge on that song. The lyrics didn't bother me so much. The lyrics on Teach Me How to Love, I think, are very good. Mm-hmm. I think are very, very, very good. Call My Friends, I don't think has very good lyrics, but I don't know. Like, this to me felt like, and this is another compliment on it. This is like best case scenario, post co-writers Maroon 5. And also best case scenario, Ryan Rossless Panic at the Disco.
There it is.
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't know if Shawn Mendes writes all of these songs himself, or if he kind of, like, comes up with a chord thing and then, like, another producer builds on it.
It's usually he is usually the main guy, and he has other writers with him. Like, for the self-titled record he worked, and for, I think, a lot of Illuminate and Handwritten, he worked with Teddy Geiger. Mm-hmm. And this album he did not work with Teddy Geiger, and it kind of shows, because Teddy is really good at writing, like, big pop hooks, which might explain why there wasn't a hit on this record. But Shawn typically has, it's usually him and, like, 2 or 3 or 4 co-writers for, like, a whole album.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you know who, like, the primary producer is on it? Or
on this one, I can check. I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, he's not usually, as far as I'm aware, not usually one to, like, by default resort to other people for his songs.
Interesting. Well, I mean, to me, it feels like, for example, on, like, Pray for the Wicked, which I think is the first, like, really, like, terrible Panic album. Mm-hmm. And I know this probably happened on Death of a Bachelor, but Pray for the Wicked, it feels like 9 different people made those instrumentals. Mm-hmm. And, like, you know, and maybe 9 people each made those instrumentals. And then Brendan Urie is just, like, throwing his fucking song on top of it. Mm-hmm. Whereas this feels like very glossy and very full instrumentals, but they're being, like, handcrafted by somebody, and it's like it's like artisan pop instrumentals. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, none of them are grating.
It's pop instrumentals you would get at Trader Joe's.
Sure. No. Organic pop instrumentals.
So the primary producers for this record,
Skrillex.
Yep. It's mostly, so Shawn is a primary producer, and the three people that did the most on this were Shawn, this guy Nate Mercero, I think is how you pronounce that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with his name.
And Kid Harpoon are the three
also
that did
familiar
the most.
with him. I think those two have done stuff for Dua Lipa before. Maybe. Which, like, talk about another artist who's got better instrumentals than like 90% of other pop music.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think what I'm getting at is like, it does not feel like cynical, which is a big compliment on it, and maybe that's why it didn't sell very well. Is because like, there's nothing on it that feels like overtly like offensive. There's no 808s, which I was like, damn. There's no trap beats except unless you count Monster, which I don't really.
Not really. It's more alternative R&B than anything.
Yeah, sure. Can we talk about Monster?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What a good song.
What a fucking track, dude. How is this not his biggest song?
I don't know. It was released as a single like ahead of the album, and fucking Justin Bieber's on it, and it's really goddamn good.
Yeah.
And even fucking like Fantano put it on best tracks of the week when it came out, which is insane because he usually just doesn't even talk about Shawn Mendes in general.
Yeah.
And then this just didn't catch on for some reason.
That's very interesting to me because I feel, and you know, this was a pandemic release, which
shit was weird in the musical landscape back then.
Looking back on all the pandemic releases, like there were some that I really, really enjoyed, and there's others that I like. There's others that I didn't enjoy, but also I don't remember them coming out. Like I vaguely remember the ones that I like really, really liked. Like For Your Health's album was a pandemic album, and I you know, obviously not just because we're buddies with them, but I loved that record. But like that Childish Gambino album,
oh god,
was a pandemic release. I forget that even came out sometimes. Was there a 1975 pandemic? It was right before the pandemic, but
I think it happened.
Notes on a Conditional Form was like right before.
I fucking love Notes.
I love Notes also.
That shit is awesome for some reason.
Loathe was like a right before pandemic one.
Yeah.
But like this was like heart of the pandemic. Like this like, and albums that came out then, they were usually albums that were scheduled to come out anyway. Like the rollouts had started pre-COVID. So I mean, like this is. Like the fact that a Justin Bieber, Shawn Mendes pop banger did not hit is just proof that like came out at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a number of things, but I mean, like truthfully, I think this song's fucking great.
Yeah.
I think it's so good.
Do you want to know something very funny about this song?
Ooh, tell me.
I do not think this was on the original track list to this album.
Really?
And the evidence I have for that is that
I listened to it on the standard version.
I know.
So what do you mean?
It came out at the same time as the rest of the album and like all of that. But if you'll notice, Monster is the one that sounds the most sonically distinct from the rest of the album, in my opinion. It doesn't feature any of the grand instrumentation. It is more of an alternative R&B track than anything else on this record. And also, curiously enough, I ordered the vinyl like frame one the minute it was announced.
Sure.
Because I have no self-control.
I'm looking at your copy of Charlie XCX's Pop 2.
Yeah.
Right
I didn't
now.
want to leave it in my car.
Oh, of course not.
Probably melt or whatever. Yeah. But I ordered the vinyl for this album, and it shipped to my house, and I played it. I got to Song for No One, and I was like, cool, Monster's next. And 305 started playing.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, that's weird. And come to find out, on all of the first presses of this album, Monster is not featured.
Interesting.
It is on there now. If you go, like, I have a version that has this song on it now.
Sure.
like the new Target exclusive has it.
Okay.
And I think generally if you find this in a record store or something, like just check the sticker, because if it doesn't have Monster on it, it'll say includes a download to Monster, rather than includes Monster.
So what's your theory, that this was like recorded later?
My theory is that the label executives heard this album and were like, I don't think there's any hits on this thing.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, Shawn, do you want to do a song with Justin Bieber?
Yeah.
And Shawn fucking loves Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
So he obviously said yes. But I think this was a last minute label edition, and it works. It's a great song, but I think that's the circumstances of its creation.
Yeah, I mean, and it is also like the one that strays from the subject matter the most.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like when it started, like I had obviously seen it on the track listing, and also this can't be the first song called Monster that Justin Bieber is on, right?
Let's find out.
I would love to know. I feel like there's a second one, but I don't know. It's just a very standard song title. Anyway, when I saw this, I was like, I had an idea in my head of what it would sound like. It was not what the song actually sounds like.
Yeah.
Like this is a banger, on levels that like Shawn Mendes has like never seen, I will say. And Bieber spits some bars about him falling from grace a little bit.
Yeah.
And I haven't been terribly checked in to him in the last few years, but I don't think I've ever heard him speak on this.
No,
and I thought it was really cool.
It's very interesting.
I thought it was awesome
to hear him talk about this, because like, if any artist like ever has a moment where like the public hates them or whatever, it's usually not very easy for them to be like, hey, yeah, I was kind of a dickhead back then, but like, I've changed and you should forgive me, without it either coming off as like super annoying and like cloying, or just like it's either that or they sound like a huge dickhead. But like Justin doesn't sound like either on these, and like I feel like part of that is because it's been such a long time removed since Justin has like been in the press for doing something really terrible. And not even like really terrible, just like young pop star bullshit. So like it feels like there's evidence to him growing as a person, and then he like opens up about how the criticism and like getting famous at such a young age affected him. Yeah. And it's like, damn, Justin Bieber's talking about this?
Yeah.
The guy who was spitting on fans at one point.
The second his verse started, I was like, this is fucking dope.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. And like it goes hand in hand with like the rest of the song being about like Shawn being scared if he like does a fuck up in any minor way, that like he's just going to be ruined forever because of it.
Yeah, I mean, which won't happen, because I think he's probably got a career forever.
I think so too.
Regardless of like, I think well into my fucking 40s, like there's going to be Shawn Mendes shows happening. You know what I mean? Like, even
then, like he just does not seem like the kind of guy to ever step on anyone's toes.
No, I don't think so. This was another thought I had during this song. I was like, Shawn Mendes is a guy who gets a lot of features. Hang on. I was like, and the two that I could immediately think of were obviously Justin Bieber on this song and Camila Cabello on Señorita. Which I don't know if that's her song or if it's just them together. I don't know the situation there.
I think it's Shawn's with her on it.
I think it's Shawn's with her on it as well. But I was like, oh, Shawn Mendes definitely has a song with Halsey.
Nope.
And then I was like, okay, Shawn Mendes definitely has a song with Dominic Fike. Nope. Not at all. And then I was like, oh, Shawn Mendes definitely has a song with Dua Lipa. Nope.
It's so strange.
It's so weird. I thought for sure this motherfucker had like made like there was one other one that I was like, it was Ariana Grande. I was like, there's definitely a Shawn Mendes Ariana Grande song.
Nope.
But there is a Shawn Mendes Chainsmokers song. Yes? I didn't check.
No.
Fucking What's happening? Like,
so I think with that, so Shawn did a bunch of features on Self-Titled.
yeah,
he did one with Khalid. He did one with Julia Michaels. John Mayer is on that.
That's right.
That Julia Michaels cut. I guess not a bunch. He did a few on that album. But he's not really ever been one to have a bunch of features on a record. Like there's not really
Illuminate
any on
has
Illuminate.
None.
Illuminate doesn't have any. I don't think Handwritten has any.
Handwritten has
one.
Has
two.
one.
Two. Air featuring Astrid S and I Know What You Did Last Summer with Camila. But he's never been a big feature artist. Which is, a little strange considering like his lane, but he's never needed any. And I feel like maybe one of those features would have happened if he had kept consistent output after Wonder, but he hasn't really done anything since Wonder came out. Like he's just been on a big break.
He put out a single.
He did put out a single. He wrote it in 48 hours and then put it out. I guess he was just really inspired. And then he's put out 3 singles since Wonder has come out, one in 2021, one in 2022, and then one this year.
Yeah, one of them was for Lyle Crocodile, correct?
Oh yeah, he also did that.
Yeah, he also did that. I didn't listen to it, but I saw it.
I didn't either.
Just in my mind, like he's like a guy who like gets like so many features.
He probably could.
He probably could, but like it doesn't seem like he's relying on them.
No, I don't think he like wants to.
Yeah,
he's such a.
It might be the route though at this point because like
maybe.
I'm not saying like the fall off is like super hard or whatever. I feel like
he definitely
in 6 months we could all be singing a new Shawn Mendes song.
Who knows? If he decides to come back, like he just played his first live show. Like he made his first on stage appearance in like a year and a half or 2 years.
No way,
just
really?
Recently. Yeah. He had a whole world tour for Wonder planned, and he canceled because he just like he cited mental health reasons.
Okay.
And then
well, that's sad.
But I feel like once he comes back properly, he'll be fine. And you know why?
No, I agree.
Because his on-stage appearance, because it wasn't a Shawn Mendes show, his first on-stage appearance was with Ed fucking Sheeran singing one of Shawn's songs at an Ed Sheeran concert.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought maybe he did Lego House with him as well.
Nope. Well, he might have, but I think the first song that he played coming back into the live music scene was "There's Nothing Holding Me Back" with Ed Sheeran.
That's cool.
Yeah, which is cool, and I think he'll be fine when he
he'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, I'd be very interested to see him go like the like not pop punk route, but like I'd be very interested to hear like the Shawn Mendes Turnstile album. You know what I mean? Like,
God, I think he can probably scream if he tried to.
He's such a talented vocalist.
Yeah.
And
he'd figure it out.
Can I be real with you? Like, it only shows through on this record a few times. Like, there's some parts of this record where I'm like, all right, like, I could sing that. like, and not to be a dick, but like, do you know what the other thing that it really, really reminded me of was, you know that song on Notes on a Conditional Form where Matty Healy says, "I never fucked in a car, I was lying."
Nothing revealed, everything denied.
Yeah. Every song on this like kind of sounds like that song. Like a little bit. Like, but without the like winking at the camera that the 1975 has.
And the white boy rapping that Matty Healy did.
I like that song, but
I don't like that song.
Oh, you're wrong.
Notes is a very strange album. Honestly, we should just talk about that at some point on just.
I'll talk about Notes.
I'll talk about the 1975 in general. Maybe we do a special 1975 episode on the Patreon or something. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, that is where that album is like Nothing Revealed, Everything Denied is like is when you get to that song, you're like, all right, am I going to listen to the rest of this or not?
Yeah, that shit is like 20 songs long. It's crazy.
It's long, but Don't Worry is like the 1975's best song. So it's such a good song.
That's so crazy.
I love that song. I think that song's amazing.
It does end with Guys, which is a hell of a closer.
Guys is such a good, well, man, I love Guys. I love Guys so
Shout
much.
out Guys. I love Guys.
Shout out Guys.
But back to the Shawn Mendes album.
Yeah. Just very samey.
Mm-hmm.
I think I get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I should say to you. Is like, I think I get it. I don't think I'm quite at the point where I can call this like a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's one of your favorites, but like,
listen,
because I feel like you might like the other Shawn Mendes records more than this one.
I do not.
Really?
I really don't, because Self-Titled has Like to Be You, which I think is a dreadful song. Even though John Mayer's on it, you can barely tell because like,
oh, is he just playing guitar?
He's just playing guitar.
He'd do that.
I think that song is really bad, and Handwritten and Illuminate are not good albums in general. There's songs off of both of them that I like, but the albums in general are not good. Whereas
this is like an album.
This is an album where the entire thing, I have a positive impression on most every single song. Like, there's nothing that completely bores me to death like Youth on this record. There's nothing that's like really bewildering like Particular Taste. If you've heard that song, that song is really strange.
I'm not super familiar.
It's
we might have to phone a friend on this. We might have to call Grayson Pace. Find out her opinion.
Is she a Shawn Mendes?
She's a bit of a Shawn stan.
Yeah.
Not as much as she's like a Justin. No, she probably likes Shawn Mendes more than she likes Justin Bieber. Like, first of all, have Shawn Mendes and Harry Styles linked up before? That feels like a link that...
Not in a musical context. I think they might have hung out at some point.
Might be homies.
Probably. It seems like Shawn is at least on friendly terms with literally everybody.
Yeah, he doesn't... That's the thing about him. Is like, I'm sure... Like, again, like I said before, in 6 months, we could all be singing a new Shawn Mendes song that rocks ass. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But also... he has like no edge to him.
No.
Like there's nothing particularly like, he's just like very safe.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the word I would use to describe this album the most is safe. Is it's like, this thing is working. Why would we switch up from it? Which is fine. Like, but like, there's just that chord transition that he's doing on let me look at the name of the song again. I'm gonna have to get back to you on it. The chord transition that's on Song for No One happens like 4 more times on this record. Like that same like kind of like jangly, like not mixolydian, that's like the wrong word.
I don't even know what that means.
I mean, I barely. But I don't know theory shit. Like that, like like that shit happens like 4 more times on the record, and it's like, okay, like, I think I'm done with this same chord thing happening over and over again. But I don't know. I get it. It's the first full album from a like legitimate male pop star that I've heard in a while where I was like, okay, that's like an actually fully realized album.
Yeah.
And I think the first fucking 5 songs are great. I think everything up to Monster is fantastic. And then I think the fall off is really hard after that track.
That's fair.
And I think it might be because that track is so good.
Yeah. It's they put Monster at track 9 on here, right before, like, because after Monster, it's 305, Always Been You, Piece of You, Look Up at the Stars and Can't Imagine. And like, I feel like Monster kind of might have fit better earlier on in the track list.
Yeah.
Because after, like, from Dream to the end of the album, excluding Monster, is all about the same thing.
Yeah.
And then Monster hits.
Camila Cabello.
Yeah. And Monster hits, and it's not really about any of that, which is fine because Call My Friends also isn't about that.
Mm-hmm.
And Song for No One, sort of. I think that song rocks.
I think that song's very good. Yeah.
It's but yeah, maybe it could have fit better earlier on in the track list, but I see what you're saying with the fall off happening there, because 305 is a strange little song. And it hitting directly after Monster is crazy to me.
I think 305 is like probably the weakest song on this.
It's I like it because it's like, it's, if you have a song where the instrumental is bright and happy and then the lyrics are like the exact opposite, I'm going to be like, ooh, PogChamp.
Sure.
Like in most scenarios, I'm like, ooh, wow,
look at that.
Look at that.
Ooh, whoa.
And I also think it's interesting because for Shawn's, like, basically his entire musical career, he has not really opened up about him being insecure about anything. Like,
sure, yeah.
There's Treat You Better, but that's which is a dreadful song, by the way.
Disagree. I think that song's pretty fun.
I hate that song.
Well, I'm an incel, so
yeah.
I'm lurking on r/never fucked. I was trying to find NoFap, and I just came up with never fucked.
Imagine there's a subreddit called r/never
fucked.
And if they find proof that you have fucked, you get banned.
Yeah. That's so funny.
r/never fucked.
r/never fucked. That should be the subreddit for the podcast. Is r/never fucked.
r/never fucked. Yeah, if you're listening, if you're making a podcast all about Fall Out Boy, I don't know. Prospects aren't looking good.
No, they're not. No.
But I bring that song up because it's like there's a flash of insecurity there.
Yeah.
In My Blood is the first one where he's really like, yeah, I'm like, shit is a little fucked up. I suck dick, man.
Yeah.
But this album, while mostly being about Camila, 305 is like, even the, like, it's very interesting to hear this like fucking 6'2" Adonis looking motherfucker.
Yeah, he is tall.
Yeah, he's tall and very attractive
and muscular now.
Very muscular.
As of recently, yeah.
And during this rollout, he had long hair, which was crazy. And then I
watched the Monster video. He looks sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to hear a man like that just be like, yeah, I am scared constantly that I'm going to lose my superstar girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then Piece of You.
And he did. So,
and then he did. Yeah. But, you know.
Turns out girls don't care what you look like. Turns out it doesn't matter at all.
You hear that, incels? You can be 5'4" and still get a lady.
You hear that, r/never fucked? Well, you can't be 5'4". You're a manlet, but
oh, true, yeah. And we have never told jokes or lies on this podcast.
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't tell lies. He also, like, I wanted to bring this up. He does not seem, especially after the self-titled, it does not seem like he has to put out a record every 2 years.
Nope.
Like, I get striking while the iron's hot, but like, maybe if you left this one in the oven a little bit more.
I don't know if he like, because self-titled came out 2 years before this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's just
didn't say
like,
shit into the mic. I'm sorry.
I guess it's just how the cookie crumbled, I suppose. Like, but I think he's realized now he doesn't have to do that. Like, because, like, he does not seem at all concerned with the fame or the money or anything. Which, you know, if I had 5 songs on Spotify that were over 1 billion streams, I also probably wouldn't be worried about that.
Yeah. Putting out a record every 2 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about putting out a record every 2 years. So I think he's realized that now. I do see what you're saying, though.
Do you remember that conversation that you and I don't remember if it was on or off pod, where we were talking about how like every now and then you'll just be like, man, I haven't heard from Maroon 5 in a little while. What the fuck is going on there? And they're on like a gigantic like South Asian tour or something like that.
Yeah.
Because like they haven't hit that market in 5 years or whatever, and they're going to hit that market and making like the entire population of the Philippines is coming to see them or whatever. That's totally what I thought Shawn Mendes was like. I was gonna like look up a set list, and it was like, well, last night in Sao Paulo, he opened with "Treat You Better." Like,
yeah.
You know, like, yeah. I do you think he's gonna make everyone wait like 4 years in between records? Like, do you think a Shawn Mendes record comes out this year?
Probably not this year.
Yeah.
I feel like he's gonna do some live
shows. We're in Q3 already, so if it was coming out, we'd probably already know by now.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna do some live shows before he puts anything out, just to like remind people that he exists and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, there's really no telling. Like, because by all accounts, like I've watched interviews with him, like read a bunch of stuff about Shawn and all that, just
of gay porn.
Obviously, yeah. And like by all accounts, he's like the most normal guy. Like,
he seems very normal. Yeah.
Like on Hot Ones, he did a Hot Ones interview. He just comes off as like
who was really clamoring for the Shawn Mendes Hot Ones.
I was. I like that video. And that was right around when Self-Titled was coming out.
Sure, yeah.
So like, but on that interview, he like comes off as like the most egoless, just dude. Yeah. Like he brought a bunch of friends with him to come to the interview with him. So like, I genuinely believe that he's just like a normal guy whose songs happen to be really good.
So
if he doesn't feel like he has to put out an album, then he's not going to.
Yeah, for sure.
He is definitely in a position where he doesn't have to listen to a label, nor probably feels compelled to either.
Which makes this make even less sense. Is like
it makes it make more sense to me, honestly.
Really, because to me it's like I feel like a little bit more work could have gone into this. I also think maybe 2 songs could have been cut from that back half. Albums don't need to be 14 songs no more. But, you know, like, I feel like, you know, if he's someone who doesn't feel any pressure to release anything, then, like, why put out an album during the pandemic less than a year after the deluxe edition of your biggest album had just come out?
Well, that was then.
You know what I mean?
I think he's like come to that realization now. I don't know about back then, but I certainly think musically he's always felt like that.
Yeah.
And like, because
everyone needs a slump. It's how you pull yourself back out.
It's what comes after the slump that determines if you have real staying power.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he does.
Yeah,
I think he does. If you're being brought on stage by Ed Sheeran to play one of your songs, insane.
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
Kind of based, like Giga Chad move, honestly.
Did you ever see the movie Yesterday?
No.
Do you know the general premise, though?
Yeah, and I know Ed Sheeran's in that.
In so much of it.
Mm-hmm.
So much of it.
I heard that his like main sequence is like the main character and him do like a performance off, and Ed Sheeran fucking washes him.
I don't quite remember. I think the main character washes him pretty bad. And like Ed's like, song I played was pretty good, but it wasn't that. And it was like, it's fucking like Yesterday by the Beatles or something like that.
Well, yeah. If you're gonna go like, I think I heard he got washed like because Ed Sheeran is a better performer.
Sure.
Not because, like, if you go up there and, like, nobody knows what Yesterday is, and then you play Yesterday, you're gonna win. Yeah. It's like a cheat code. Like, if you are the only one with knowledge of the Beatles, which, by the way, the entire musical landscape would be completely different if the Beatles didn't exist. Like,
yeah. I mean,
it's unbelievably different.
It's fun to think about. It's a fun little thought experiment. Yeah. It's a fun premise for a movie. But yes, you're very right.
Why'd you bring this up?
Oh, because Ed Sheeran is in it. That's all. Do you know how that movie ends?
Doesn't he visit fucking John Lennon?
He does visit deepfake John Lennon. But
why didn't they?
Do you know like the ending?
No.
Can I tell you?
Yeah. Okay. I'm not gonna watch it.
So like
spoilers for Yesterday, I guess.
He reveals that like none of the songs were written by him. But he still goes and like plays them and like refuses to take any money off of it. Like he's still like a world-class performer. Mm-hmm. But he like refuses to take any money off of it. And like, he's like I forget. I think maybe he opens like a music school or something like that. And he finally gets together with the girl that he's wanted to get together with the whole movie. Mm-hmm. And they finally like have sex or whatever. I don't know if they have sex. I think they're finally just like happy together. And he's like, ugh, I feel like when Harry Potter finally defeated Voldemort. And she goes, who? And then he Google searches Harry Potter, and Harry Potter also does not exist in this world. Oh and God. The credits roll.
Oh my God.
It's awesome. It's kind of great. It's kind of really fun.
Oh my God. That is kind of funny.
It's kind of great. I kind of love it.
It's kind of funny.
It's not like a particularly great movie, but like that ending is hilarious.
Just, oh man, Harry Potter doesn't exist. Now I can write it and not be a huge transphobe.
That's like the implication, because I don't know if she was transphobic yet when that
she
movie
definitely
came out.
was. I don't know if it was like as widely known as it
or
is
if
now.
Many people cared yet. Yeah.
Who knows? Fuck J.K. Rowling.
Fuck J.K. Rowling. She better quit it. She better
knock it off.
Knock it off.
Hey, cut that out.
Hey, J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling, have you considered being a nicer person?
Have you considered shutting the fuck up?
Have you considered shutting the fuck up? J.K. Rowling.
We cast epic spells.
We... pranked you.
Expelliarmus.
Expecto my balls.
In your mouth.
Expecto D's. What's D's? D's nuts in your mouth. Hire me to do your producer tag.
Goblet of fire. Goblin my balls.
Goblin my balls.
Goblin my balls. Dobby the house elf just sucked me off.
Dobby the house elf got fucking stabbed. Yikes.
All right, I think we're done here. We did it, yeah.
I did want to...
oh, yeah. Sorry, we'll stop talking about Dobby the house elf.
Yeah. Stop talking about Dobby the house elf getting fucking stabbed. I did want to bring up, just because we haven't touched on either of these tracks, Dream. Despite sharing a name with a YouTuber of questionable morality, I fucking love that song.
That song's not bad. It was one of those where, to me, it kind of suffered from like the samey qualities.
Sort of. It's like, it's very dream pop, and not really much of the album ventures into that territory. And also, I think that song features some of Shawn's best lyrics on the album. The idea of just dreaming about somebody when you're far away from them is pretty basic, but he sells it really well.
He sells it very well. Yeah, no.
Doggy.
It's relatable. Doggy, it's a relatable little song right there.
And then also Piece of You, which is one of my favorites. That's an area where I disagree with the sameness of the last half, because it's a darker song instrumentally, and also it is his most, like, I think out of his entire catalog, it's like his most vulnerable, I guess, because it's taking the themes of 305 and just like ramping it the fuck up.
Yeah, no, and I wouldn't totally count that track out. It's just like there's something about that stretch of 305 to Look Up at the Stars where it's like just none of these songs are Monster. I really want to listen to Monster.
Bring back now. Monster,
which, like, you know, I do think, and maybe this should be the recurring segment on Made You Listen, but I do think that this is something I am going to return to because it is a nice enough listen to where, like, I could put it on and, like, really enjoy myself and find myself, like, you know, liking it more. And that's a song in particular where I was like, okay, I'll come back to this. Like, I saved it to my liked songs. You know what I mean?
Let's go.
But like the other songs, because it comes right after another song that has "You" in the title, right?
Always Been You.
Always Been You. Yeah. Which that song, I was not to.
I think that one, I do like that song. I think it's done better live.
Yeah, because he did that in the thing, right? In the session. Sadie, oh my goodness.
Sadie's
popping off. Yeah. Big golden retriver vibes.
I wouldn't keep petting her, so she walked over to the hallway and started.
That is how she works,
out.
Dawson. You should know better.
Yeah. That's my bad, honestly.
All right.
Final score, I suppose.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Let's go.
I'm positive on it. It's not my favorite thing I've ever heard in my life. However, there's some really fucking good songs on this.
Yep.
Intro to 24 Hours. I was having such a good time. And then what's after 24 Hours?
Teach Me How to Love.
Teach Me How to Love to Monster. I was like, this is a different record, but I'm having a great time still. And then Can't Imagine. Great fucking closer. It's so vulnerable instrumentally. And it sounds like it could have been recorded on like an iPhone.
I think it was recorded in one take.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah, it's great. Shawn Mendes might be a stellar guitar player.
He is.
I think I got to point that out. Is that Homeboy kind of shreds. For what he is, Homeboy shreds. Definitely.
I give this a 9 out of 10, and it is my 50th favorite album of all time.
Awesome.
Join us next episode.
Do you want to spin? Do you want to spin for what I have to do next?
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Cool.
All right, so
because we didn't spin until yesterday, and I spun for you today, which is why I'm not making you do Low Country today.
Yeah. All right, so let me take Wonder off of the wheel.
Nice. Down to 9.
Down to 9.
It feels good to look at a small wheel. Looking at the big wheel is scary.
But before we spin, thank you so much for listening.
Yes.
If you liked this format, there will be one more coming out, and then the rest will be Patreon exclusive. So give us your money, Smile. And follow Carson's band at Callous Cowboys on Twitter, at the Callous Cowboys on Instagram. Follow my band at Bummerhill ATL on Twitter, at Bummerhill on Instagram. Follow the podcast at The Dreaded Wheel on Twitter. The Dreaded Wheel, my apologies. And let's spin this damn ass wheel. I'm holding my phone out. Yeah, press that button. Cool. It's spinning. The next.
We usually don't have the.
I forgot. I didn't know it did that. The next album is Zero by Low Roar. Very good post-rock album. Like indie folk sort of post-rock fusion. I love that album.
Cool. But, I'm excited.
That'll be the next album that Carson has to listen to, but the next episode of this series will be Low Country, and that is an album that I have to listen to.
Low Country by Envy on the Coast. Did you already listen to it?
I did.
Okay, all right. I guess I'll find out.
Next episode is back to your regularly scheduled programming. She's My Winona. Wee!
Wee!
Bye.
Bye.